ABC24 This Week starts right now.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on ABC24 This Week. I'm Pepper Baker. You are here for the real stories behind the big stories, and I hope you'll continue to join us every Sunday at either 9 a.m., 10:35 p.m., or on 24+. All right, who is at the table today? Let's find out. As always, ABC24 political analyst Otis Sanford. We have Susan Thorpe of Thorpe Communications, and we have Reverend Kenneth Whalum from New Olivet Worship Center. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get to it. All right, so the topics today. First, all things MSCS, the school board lawsuit, the new superintendent, the looming state takeover, and the district's audit. Second, a new Republican candidate enters the Shelby County mayoral race. And lastly, outrage over immigration enforcement, both at the local and national level. But let's get back to number one. This week, a Shelby County judge ruled in favor of 5 MSCS board members. They will officially get to finish out their terms. They sued the county commission for voting to align their elections this year, which would have cut those 5 school board members' current terms short by 2 years, but not anymore. But let Republican Tennessee State Representative Mark White tell it doesn't matter who is in those school board seats. He says a state takeover is happening. He also told the Daily Memphian that the district's audit shows, quote, financial record mismanagement, waste, and abuse of contracts, disorganization at a level that's unprecedented. And in spite of all that, the board voted unanimously to drop Dr. Roderick Richmond's interim title and make him the district's superintendent.
As I go back and forth to Nashville, legislators, many of them have asked me, Dr. Richmond, when are they going to make you the permanent superintendent? They've also talked about the superintendent role in having turnover. As I meet and talk to auditors, they talk about the turnover. Stability and having retention in our district is one of the most important things we can do now. And so I'm happy that I'm in the seat, and I'm hoping that we've stabilized the district. Now what I want us to do is provide the continuity necessary for us to turn it around.
So let's start with the man who has been in the school board seat before, Reverend Whalum. So what do you think about, one, the school board members winning that lawsuit, and is Mark White correct in the fact that it doesn't really matter who's in those seats?
Let me answer him in reverse. Mark White is absolutely correct. It is not going to matter who the school board named as a permanent superintendent. Y'all, I have not seen one story, I've not read one article, maybe y'all have, about who's paying for these lawsuits. Who's paying the lawyers? We are. You can always sue somebody, you can always win a lawsuit because the judge, he or she is bound by the facts, by the law. And if you got precedent, you have to really go a long way to get a judge to overturn precedent. That's one point. The other point is, it has never been about Rod Richmond as an administrator. He's always been a competent, capable administrator. It's not about who the superintendent is. By the way, it appears that that was a plan all the time for Rod Richmond to be the superintendent. Just go back and look at the stories. Look at that night when he was named the interim superintendent. Look at the shenanigans. Listen to the words that were used. It's so sad, and I don't want to overstay my time on this point. But anybody familiar with the story, Hans Christian Andersen, the Emperor's New Clothes? Mm-hmm. Everybody's bowing to the emperor, talking about how beautiful his clothes are. He's butt naked. The school board has been butt naked for years now. And if somebody doesn't reverse this trend, we're going to continue. We're not going to be able to reverse the trend. We are graduating classes of students, 75% of whom cannot read on a grade level. That's unacceptable no matter who the superintendent is. And back to my first answer, it's not going to matter because the Republicans and the Democrats are going to agree, I think, and it doesn't matter if the Democrats agree or not. The takeover is imminent, and it can't come too soon. One final thing. Do you know what a forensic audit is? It is intended to identify fraud, crimes. Who would wonder whether or not the person being investigated would be apprised of what they found during the investigation? That's just utterly ridiculous. I'm sorry.
And Representative Mark White told our Desmond Nugent today that those audit results he's expecting to be released publicly in the first week of March.
Okay.
So Otis, yes, your take.
There's no way in the world I can respond to all that Kenneth Whalum said here, and I won't even try. But I will say this. It was perfectly proper for the school board members whose terms were cut short or threatened to cut short to take it to court, no matter who paid for it, because they had a right to do that. The rest of it I'll leave alone. I will talk a little bit about the preliminary findings from the forensic audit. It strikes me that the meeting that they had with the auditors, there were only Republicans in the room, there were no Democrats in the room, and I wonder why that is. Why didn't they have some, especially leading Democrats in the legislature? Maybe Ramesh Akbari, maybe...
She was late, Otis.
Well,
she was supposed to be there, but she missed it because she had another engagement.
Well,
that's not the Republicans' fault.
Well, I think the Republicans were very happy that there were no
But that's not
Republicans.
what you asked.
Well, still, the Republicans are coming out and talking in generalities about what the audit says before we know what the audit says. And I still think that some Democrats should have been in the room and at least give some balance to what we're saying here. Yes, I agree. The takeover is imminent. They're bound and determined, and there's no reason for the Republicans not to do it. And the school board just has to get prepared for it because it's going to happen.
Susan, I would like you to have kind of the wrap up here, just your take and whether this is good for the district or is there hope for it to stay in local control?
Well, I'm not sure there's much hope for it to stay in local control in the near future. I think that they're right that the state's going to take it over. But a little disagree just on a small point with my friend Otis here. I don't think the 5 members of the school board had a right to go to court and sue. I mean, nowhere in anybody's constitution says they have a right to sue. But what I do think is that they were elected for a 4-year term, and they were being cut short. Now, if we want our school board members all to be elected for 4-year terms, then announce it before the next election, so people know what they're running for. But I think that that was a little bit unfair to try and cut them short. The other thing is that that we're arguing about lawsuits and stability and audits. Who is educating the kids? I mean, isn't that what it's all about? And at what point are we going to stop and say, how do we focus on educating the kids? We might find a lot of malfeasance in these audits that are coming out, but what good does that do for the kids who need to be educated? And I think that's what we have to figure out as a community.
I think that's a good point to end on. Very good words there. All right. When we come back, the Shelby County Republican Party has put up their front runner candidate for the Shelby County mayor's race. We'll tell you who it is. Stay with us.